And we're back. Oh, I like all of those commercials.
They're wonderful.
They are wonderful. Yes.
So are you ready to read?
Sure.
Right.
I'm going to read a couple different snippets from chapter 1 just to give everybody a little bit of an idea of the story itself. I'll skip here and there just to make it brief. I know we don't want to take forever. All right, chapter 1, The Library of Sarnia. The warmth had receded and frost now covered the land. Icy winds swept across the hills of northern Sarnia, a calling card that the seasons had shifted and autumn now owned the day. Swirls of frozen air whipped fiercely across the uneven terrain, slowing the trek of a small group of weary travelers fighting through the tiny tornadoes with all of their might. As they climbed, a solitary sign of cheer floated down upon the breeze from an unseen messenger. Welcome, it called, from a destination unknown, as the winds pulled apart the waves of sound. Glancing up in search of the greeting's origin, Esme Haley gasped as a blast of frosty air smacked her swiftly in the face, stinging her eyes and stealing her breath. Stopping momentarily to regain her composure, she tucked back a few locks coaxed from her thick scarlet braid, and buttoned every one of the fasteners on her plaid wool coat, thankful she had prepared for the weather. "Hello," the female voice called again, its owner still invisible to the travelers. "I'm so glad you made it." The gusts grew stronger with each step, showering the three companions with leaves and other bits of nature as they continued their trek up the hill. "Whoa!" Alex, Esme's cousin, grabbed a low-hanging tree branch to keep his balance after a powerful burst almost knocked him off his feet. The drafts were exhausting, both rushing him along and trying to hold him back at the same time, and he was ready to be out of the weather. "Why am I here again?" he grumbled mutely. In front of him, Esme and his twin sister Ava were using each other as a tether, pushing or pulling as needed against the breeze to stay upright. "Man, this wind is strong. Are we almost there?" he yelled, but the wind swallowed his voice, so no answer was given. At the summit, the trio stopped for a moment to take in the scene. In the distance was their destination, the Library of Sarnia, a massive stone structure that dominated their view, looming over a wide swath of lush green grounds. Below their gaze, at the main door, they found the source of the voice. A neatly dressed woman with rosy cheeks and a sweet smile on her face stood with the door open, watching the group intently. Clutching the front of her cardigan to keep out the wind, she fluttered her other hand in the air, trying to catch their attention. Her sepia-colored bun and bright blue eyes both seemed to shake with anticipation at the new visitor's arrival. Esme was tickled by the juxtaposition of the woman's bright and happy demeanor amongst the brooding sky and a menacing architecture. This had to be Miss Brindle, the head librarian, and the person they were on their way to see. While this was her first time seeing Miss Brindle, her voice was unmistakable, a merry lilt that betrayed her Irish upbringing. Far from their first interaction, the woman had grown close over the multiple times Esme had reached out for assistance and information from Sarnia's endless library archive. A senior researcher from the Avalon Institute of Culture, she was constantly contacting universities and libraries all over the world, and Miss Brindle was one of her favorite connections. It had made her happy to have an excuse to call on the lady who always made her smile, but this time it was for personal purposes instead of a work request. "Hello there," she called back with a wave. "Thank you. We're happy to be here." Trotting up the concrete steps, the three travelers made their way to the top walk that led to the entrance of the medieval-looking building. Glancing from side to side, Esme took in the vast lawn speckled with large oak trees dwarfed only in size by the library itself. Looking behind her to make sure her cousins were keeping pace, she could tell from their wide eyes and dreamy smiles that they were also taken in by the beautiful scenery. It had been a while since any of them had seen so much green. Their homeland, neighboring Avalon, had been in a downward spiral over the past few years, leaving it in a state of ruin. Shining, beautiful towns and cities were now crumbling, and their once beautiful parks and forests had been devastated. Only wide swaths of dying trees, scraggly grasses, and empty fields remained. This was the reason for their trip, to help understand the mysterious invisible disease that was threatening to destroy their home. Although it would be lovely to take a moment to enjoy the lushness of the grounds, the wind was much too angry and the sky was threatening rain or worse. "Anyway," Esme said silently, "that isn't why we're here. Focus on finding the book. It might be the key to solving these troubles and returning Avalon to normal. Then there will be time for a relaxing vacation." She sighed, willing herself to keep up a sunny disposition, although it weighed on her how long she had been on this journey and how much worse the troubles had become over that time. The trio had been searching for the past year for any literature that mentioned the Kingdom of Orion, and Esme had recently discovered a historical text about the kingdom in the Library of Sarnia. Recentering her thoughts on what was ahead, she reminded herself of their mission, crossing her fingers that Miss Brindle had a key to helping them solve the mystery. They were racing against time to save their homeland, the island continent of Mar, from the throes of disaster. 2/3 of its countries, Avalon and the Kingdom of Orion, were now both living under an umbrella of darkness and terror, and Esme was determined to find out what had happened. She had a strong sense that this pain had started in the kingdom and hoped this book could help her find out how to restore things to normal.
That was very nice.
Very interesting.
Yes, I liked it. I liked the way you write. That was
Thank you.
great.